Welcome to the Wealthy Woman's Podcast, a podcast for high-achieving women who are great at making money but struggle to build wealth. You'll learn how to take control of your money, increase your net worth, and make more. Ladies, it's time to create a life with more money and more freedom. Let's dive in. Well, hello there. Welcome to the podcast. This is episode number 20. I can't believe it. I'm so excited. 20 episodes of the Wealthy Woman's Podcast. This was just an idea back in March, and now here we are, 20 episodes later. So thank you for listening. So yesterday, I had the pleasure of hosting my Save 2K in 2 months workshop, and it was pretty cool. I had a good time doing it. A lot of you showed up. I'm so excited for what you're going to get out of that. And I also announced that inside of my money coaching program, the Wealthy Woman's Academy, we will be doing what I'm calling the Summer Savings Challenge starting August 9th. And so I want to make sure you all know about it and that you join us. If this is something you want to do, if you have a goal to start saving money on a consistent basis and you're not doing that and you find it hard to save, I want you to join this challenge so that you can change that. So here's what we're going to be working on starting August 9th. So you have time to join August 2023. Here's how the challenge is going to work. You're going to pick your goal, any goal that you want. It could be as big as $5,000 that you want to save because we're going to go from August 9th through the end of September. And then, of course, we'll continue on because the Wealthy Woman's Academy is actually a year-long program where we'll cover all sorts of things around money. But for the Summer Savings Challenge, we're going to kind of do a savings sprint for 2 months. So from August 9th through September 30th, you're going to pick your goal of how much you want to save. Some of you will stick with the 2K that I talked about during the workshop, and others of you may want to do more, or you may want to do less. And actually, it doesn't matter what number you pick. What matters most is that you pick a number and that you get started and that you continue through so that you can become the kind of woman who saves money on a consistent basis. Okay. Then you're going to choose your saving strategy during the workshop. And I'm actually going to link to the workshop in the show notes. So if you missed it and you want to catch it, the workshop will be linked in the show notes. You're going to pick a strategy. So I gave 3 different strategies on the workshop. You're going to pick one. One of the fun ones is to gamify it, where you'll have a chart. And so maybe your chart will say $1,000 in 30 days. Like that will be your goal. And every single day you can pick a number and just transfer that money into your savings account. Some of you may want to just pick straight math where you just decide, okay, I'm going to save this month $1,000 and each check I'm going to just save this amount. So that's the other thing we're going to do. We're going to choose your strategy, and then we're going to set up your savings ecosystem. Listen, I think all of us should have a high yield savings account. So if you don't have one, I'm going to show you how to do that. And then we're going to get all your accounts connected so that you can just have your savings either on autopilot or very easily set up where you can just transfer money. And then here's the really cool part. We're going to talk about how to find money. I'm sure all of us have money that we can find in our lives. So I'm going to show you how to find money so that you can use it to boost your savings. So I have multiple ways for you to find money, and we're going to be working on that during the Summer Savings Challenge. And then, of course, being a part of the Wealthy Woman's Academy, you get weekly group coaching. Here's the thing. Coaching is transformational. It is the secret sauce to changing, because the only reason why you're not doing what you want to do, like saving or building wealth or paying off debt, or if you're overspending, the only reason why you're doing those things or not doing those things is because of something you're thinking. It's your mindset. And when you are coached, you get to see it, because we don't know all the things that we're thinking in our brain. We think 60,000 thoughts a day, and a lot of the things we think are subconscious, which means you don't even know you're thinking it. You learned things when you were a child, you picked up things in the environment, and you just think that that is the way life is. You think whatever you're doing is just the way it is. Kind of how like I used to think I was just bad with money and there was no way to get out. Like that thought process or those kinds of mindset stances, they are keeping you stuck. And coaching is one of the only ways I know how to get rid of it, because you have someone who's trained. You have that person listening to you. They ask you really thoughtful questions. They ask you skilled questions. And then you actually tell them the answers. And a lot of times when you're telling the answers, you don't even know you're telling them, and then they can point them out to you. So the coaching is transformational. Okay, so that is what you will also get. Here's the thing. I want to help you end 2023 with way more money than what you started it with. So if you want to join us for the Summer Savings Challenge that's happening inside of the Wealthy Woman's Academy, you need to sign up by August 8th because we're getting started August 9th. And the link to the workshop will be in the show notes, and the link to learn more about how to join the Wealthy Woman's Academy so that you can be a part of this challenge will also be in the show notes. Okay, so let's get to our topic for today. So today we are talking about spending triggers. So what we're going to cover, we're going to really define what they are. I'm going to tell you what they are and what they are not. I'm going to give you lots of examples of spending triggers, and most of these spending triggers are like my triggers. Some of them are still triggering for me, and some of them I've overcome. And so maybe you'll see yourself in these triggers as well. And then I'm going to tell you what you can do about them once you identify them. Okay. So of course I had to Google what is a trigger. So not even just a spending trigger, just any sort of trigger. A trigger is a stimuli that elicits a reaction. So it's something that happens in the world and it elicits an reaction from you. In my own words, triggers are circumstances, things that exist in the world, right? Circumstances are things that happen in the world. They are outside of our control. The weather is outside of our control. If someone sends you a coupon in the mail, that's outside of your control. If you happen to be watching TV and you see an ad, that's outside of your control, right? If you happen to be on social media and you see an ad, that happens to be outside of your control. Now, I'm not saying that being on social media is outside of your control. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying if you're already on social media and you're scrolling and then an ad pops up, that is outside of your control. Unless you figure out a way to stop going on social media and then you change all your features where you don't get ads anymore and all that. But we don't need to do all of that. I'm actually going to address that because sometimes what we try to do is we try to avoid triggers. But I don't want you to avoid triggers. I want you to be free to be able to live your life and be able to have triggers all around you and you not give into them. So, like I said, scrolling on social media because you want to, and then an ad popping up, that could be a trigger, but it's still outside of your control. It's a circumstance. But here's what I want you to know about circumstances and triggers. They can't make you spend money. They can't make you spend or do anything else. A circumstance can't make you do anything. It is just something that exists in the world. And you have the power to decide if you're going to give in to the trigger or if you're not. Triggers do not control you. You can't always control the triggers, like I said, but they definitely do not control you. I want you to know that you are way more powerful than any trigger that you encounter. You are way more powerful. I want you to know that. And I want you to let that sink in because some of you think that the reason why you overspend, that the reason why you can't save, that the reason why you're not meeting your financial goals or that you have no control is because of all the triggers, because of social media ads, because of all the email promotions that you get. No, those things can exist and you still can decide that you're not going to give into them. Okay? So you are way more powerful than any trigger that can come into your life. So now let's talk about some examples. So remember I said I'm going to be telling on myself here. So all of these are my triggers, and I'm sure you all can relate to them, okay? And some of them, like I said, I'm no longer really triggered by them anymore, but some of them I am. And I just really encountered one big one this summer. So I'll talk about that in a second. So one trigger can be special events. So when you have a gala to go to or a birthday party that is, fancy, or any kind of event, and you feel like I need something new, because maybe you have the thought that you don't wear gowns more than once, or that you only can wear something once a year. Like maybe you have that kind of a thought. Remember, your thoughts are the reason why you do things and don't do things. So if you have a special occasion or something like that, you think I need something new. Even though you probably have 2 or 3 really cool outfits that you could wear that you only wore once, you still think that you need something new. So special events are a big trigger. And guess what? I have a special event coming up, and I've decided that I'm going to wear a dress that I already wore before. So my sister got married last March, and I wore this beautiful dress, and I have not been able to wear it again. And I have an event coming up in October, and I'm wearing that dress. I've already decided. So I'm kind of giving away what you can do when you have a trigger. But anyway, that's what's going to happen. I've already decided that I am wearing that dress, and I am not buying another dress, because I already know my brain is going to think I need something. It already does think it, but I've already decided that I'm going to wear that dress. Okay. The other trigger that is huge for me, and I really got caught up in it this summer, is vacations and trips. So for some reason, I think that every time I go on vacation, I need something new. Not everything has to be new, but something. And so this summer, I had like 4 trips kind of back to back, and I found myself shopping for the 3rd trip, and I didn't need anything. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, here's a trigger for me, going out of town. And it was a really nice event that I was going to, a really nice place I was going to. And I bought stuff that I didn't need. And that was really eye-opening for me. And so now I'm kind of ready for it. So the next time I have a trip, I'm ready for it. And even the 4th trip, I was ready for it. And I even had an urge for the 4th trip to go buy something. And I was just like, nope, I'm not doing it, because I have plenty. And no, I don't want to buy anything else. I have so many things in my closet that I only really wear for vacations. And I'm going to wear some of those things, and I'm not going to buy anything else. So vacations or trips can be a big trigger. So just think about it. And as I'm saying these and I'm explaining them, you can think about these for yourself and start trying to identify if you have the same triggers or not. So I already mentioned this one, social media ads. I've gotten a lot better with this one, but social media ads are for sure tempting, and they are triggers for me. So I'm sure we all can relate to that these days. And what I've decided, and I think I've talked about this on the podcast before, is that if I ever see something online that I want, I never buy it right away. I make myself wait 24 to 48 hours, and then typically I forget all about it and I never ever buy it. So if I see something on social media that I think I have to have, I will, click on it, put it in the cart, and just close it, and then I never go back to it. And so you can steal that strategy as well. Because what's happening is it's like your brain sees something. Remember, your brain likes instant gratification and likes to feel good. So it's like, oh, I want this. That's really pleasurable. But when you put time and space between seeing something you want and then actually buying it, by the time you are ready to buy it, like 48 hours later, you don't even want it anymore. All that excitement, all that pleasure, all that gratification has gone away. Okay. This is another one, and I hear people say this all the time. I'm going to just unsubscribe from all these emails that I get. So you know how you go to Banana Republic or J. Crew or whatever stores you like to shop at, and you give them your email address for 10% off, and then they bombard you with emails with coupons. And some of you think that those coupons are controlling and you can't say no to them. I'm speaking to myself here, but this is another one that I've gotten really, really good at. So just because somebody has a sale doesn't mean I need to buy something, right? If I wasn't already planning to buy something from J. Crew, then I don't need to use their coupon, right? And so the only time I really ever use these coupons is if I am already going to buy something and they may have what I need. So let's say I want a pair of navy blue pants. And I'm like, yeah, I really want a nice pair of pants. And then, oh, here's a coupon from Banana Republic. I love their pants. I'm going to go ahead and get them since, I have this coupon. But it's never like, okay, they sent me this coupon, so now I must go buy something. That can be a trigger, so just watch out for that. The other one that I've gotten really good at as well is catalog arrivals. So sometimes I get catalogs, even today in 2023, and I always look through them, always. And I always find something that I like, but I never buy them anymore. I used to, but now I don't. So just notice if that's something that you get triggered by as well. Sales. So we all know that every year around summer, the end of summer, middle of summer, Nordstrom's, they have an anniversary sale. We all know that every single store in the world has a Black Friday sale, right? So just notice when you are triggered by sales, right? Just because Nordstrom is having their anniversary sale doesn't mean you need to go there and buy something unless you just want to and you've planned for it. Or maybe like the same example, like maybe you've been wanting a new pair of boots and it's just like, I've been planning for these new pair of boots and Nordstrom's having a sale, their anniversary sale. So I'm going to go take advantage of that opportunity. That is fine. But if it's just like, oh, let me just go see what Nordstrom has, even though I'm not planning to buy anything, I really don't have any money set aside for it, and I have other goals, other financial goals I'm trying to reach, I'm not going to let Nordstrom's anniversary sale derail me from doing what I want to do financially. So here's one that I still have to contend with. Here's another one, is landmarks. So if I'm driving down the highway, so where I live, there is an outlet mall very nearby. And sometimes when I'm driving home, I get triggered or I have the urge to go to the outlet mall. And so I have to be very conscious of it, because back when I was really in my overspending days, that was one of the things I did probably a couple times a week. I would just veer off that exit and go to the outlet just to browse, just to see what they had. And of course, I always found something. So now my brain still has that little neural pathway there where I get a little urge to, oh, let's go see. And I have to consciously not do that. So for you, that could be something like passing by the mall. Or here's another one. So one of the stores that I really like is Zara. And years ago, we didn't have a Zara in my state. So whenever I traveled, I made it a point to find a Zara. So that was a trigger for me. Like if ever I was in Chicago or New York or any place that had a Zara, I felt like I had to go see, because that was my only opportunity, right? So landmarks, those two can be triggers. Another trigger could be a Target run. So you go to Target for basics. Maybe you need shampoo and conditioner and maybe some toiletries. And of course, you get there and you see something that's cute. That's always going to happen at Target. Let's just be real with ourselves. We will always find something cute at Target. And so if we just understand that is the case and be ready, and I'm actually getting into what to do when you have a trigger, but I'll talk about this more in a little bit. But if you just decide that this is going to happen, I'm going to go in Target for toothpaste and other toiletries, and I'm going to see something cute. And you can just make a decision like, okay, I know I'm going to see it, but I'm not going to buy anything. Just that kind of thinking is going to change your life. Being aware that Target runs are my trigger. I'm going to see something cute when I'm in there, and I'm not going to give in. Game changing. Game changing. Okay, so the next one is birthdays and holidays. Of course, we all know the biggest trigger if you celebrate Christmas or any other holiday around the month of December, we all know that that is one of the biggest triggers that anybody could ever have, right? And so also birthdays can be triggers. Some people I know, every time they have a birthday, they got to go get a new outfit so they can go out for their birthday. So just keep that in mind as well. And here's the thing about birthdays and holidays. I totally think we should be able to celebrate those fully. And one way to do it is to, and I teach my clients this inside of the Wealthy Women's Academy, is to create a holiday fund where you're funding it every single month. That way, when the holidays come, guess what? You're ready. You don't have to scramble. You don't have to go into debt. You don't have to dip into your savings. You don't have to live paycheck to paycheck during that time. You are just like, nope, I'm ready. I have all my money stacked and I'm about to go shop. I'm going to go do whatever I've decided to do. Same for birthdays. If you have a birthday that happens in August and you know you're going to want a new outfit and you're going to want to go out, or if your kids have birthdays and you know you're going to want to throw a party, why not just have a birthday fund where you actually are funding it? And so when the kid's birthday comes, you're ready. And these are some of the things we're also going to work on during the summer savings challenge, because saving money doesn't have to just be for emergencies. It can be for other things that are important to you that happens throughout the year as well. Okay, so we're almost to the end here. So TV ads, magazines, for sure, those are triggering. So I have to tell myself, I was recently watching the Netflix series, I think it's called The Nanny. And Julia, who's one of the characters, she had on the cutest cardigan, but it wasn't like a sweater material. It was more like a mesh material, and it was ruched all over. It was black. So the sleeves was ruched. The whole thing is just ruched. And I was like, oh my God, I got to have it. So I literally picked up my phone and Googled cardigan, ruched cardigan Julia is wearing on The Nanny. And I should not be telling you all this because now you're going to know you can do this. But remember, we can handle our triggers. And I was able to find it. And I found it. It's a BCBG cardigan. And I found it on Poshmark for like $30. And it was brand new with the tags. And I got it. I'm just confessing here. But here's the thing. I give myself, and this is another little side note, I give myself a certain amount of money I could spend every week on whatever I want. And so, hey, $30, it was fine. Now, if it was $200 or $300, that would probably been another story. So, and I used my personal spending money for it. And I encourage you all to have that type of setup as well, where you have a certain amount of money you can spend however you want on a weekly basis or bi-weekly basis, however you want to do it. So if you see something cute on TV, you might find that to be a trigger. Okay, last but not least, emotions. This is a huge, huge one. A lot of times we use shopping, quote unquote, retail therapy to make ourselves feel better when we're feeling negative emotions, and sometimes even positive ones. And I'll tell you what I mean about that in a second. So stress, boredom, disappointment, frustration. A lot of times when we're feeling down, we're feeling those negative emotions. Remember, your brain doesn't like to feel those. So it wants you to do something to stop feeling it, to cope with it, to numb it out. Although the emotions are still there, whatever made you stressed, that's still there. Whatever makes you feel bored, that's still there. Whatever made you feel disappointed, that's still there. And truthfully, shopping and spending can't fix it, but in the moment, it can make you feel better. And that's your brain's job. It wants to feel better. And so you shop. So the shopping can kind of lift up those spirits. Like when you're feeling low, it can lift you up a little bit. And sometimes when we get really, really excited, we want to shop as well because our emotions are so high. And even then our brain is like, okay, we're a little too high. We got to bring that down. Let's go shopping. And that will kind of decompress emotions as well. I actually have a client like that where she doesn't shop when she's feeling negative emotions. She shops when she's really excited. That's not always the case for most people, but for her it is. So we figured that out. And so now she understands how to kind of cope with that as well. Like when I'm feeling excited, I don't have to go shop to bring myself back to reality. I can just breathe. I can just allow myself to feel the excitement. I can allow myself to experience the greatness that's happening, and I don't have to decompress myself. Okay, so those were some of the examples that I had. I hope these were helpful for you. I hope hearing my stories, I should say, because I have a lot of them, about how these have affected me. And remember, the triggers are not what caused me to spend. They are just triggers that elicits that action. But at the end of the day, it's up to me to decide if I'm going to spend or not. And I want you to really understand that. Like, you are in control. So when you get a social media ad flashing your face, you are in control of it. And so let's talk about now how to do or what to do when you figure out what your triggers are. So the first thing you want to do is let yourself become aware of them. Become aware of what your triggers are. You can see I have a lot of awareness around my triggers, what they are. You can do the same thing. I encourage you, highly encourage you to do the same thing for yourself, especially if overspending is something that's keeping you stuck. If it's something that's keeping you from reaching your financial goals, becoming aware of those triggers is so powerful because now you can kind of be on alert. You can know what to expect. Okay. So what you can do is, like, some of you may already know just from me giving these examples, like, okay, yep, that resonates. That's my trigger too. But some of you may not. And there may be other triggers. Even if you found some triggers that resonate with you, you may have more. So just become curious about what your spending triggers are and identify them. Sometimes you'll be able to just think about them. Like the catalog one, I was like thinking, and I'm like, yeah, that used to be a trigger for me, but now it's not. So sometimes you can just think about what could possibly be a trigger for you. But other times you may not really discover your triggers till after you've spent, right? So for me, the vacation one, I kind of knew it was there, but this past summer when I shopped just for that trip, it just solidified like, oh, this truly is a trigger for you. So from now on, when you know you have a vacation coming up, be ready for that because this is real for you. So sometimes you just may have to figure it out by experience. And sometimes experience is the best teacher, but sometimes we don't want to have to experience, things to learn, but sometimes we just have to. So once you identify them, now you can be ready. You can start anticipating them. Just like I said with the vacations, I now am going to be able to anticipate the fact that you truly are triggered to shop when you have a vacation coming up. I kind of knew it before, but now I really know it from experience, right? The other thing that I really know now is like when there's a special occasion, I always think I need to go buy something. And so now I'm really ready for that one, right? I've already decided that I'm not going to buy a new dress for that. I'm going to wear the one I already wore that is really pretty and it's great and I only wore once. So once you identify them, you can anticipate them. And then once you are ready to anticipate them, you can just be ready with the game plan. Like, okay, I know it's coming. So for instance, when I have a vacation, I'm going to anticipate the fact that I'm going to want to shop. And then I can decide, okay, here's my game plan. My game plan is I'm going to feel like I want to shop, but I'm not going to. That could be my game plan. Or my game plan could be, first I'm going to, shop in my closet. I'm going to get all packed. And then if I need something, then I will allow myself to go buy something. That could be my game plan. Or my game plan could be, you know what? I'm going to just give myself a certain amount of money and I'm going to go shop, but I'm going to give myself a certain amount and I'm going to stick to it. Because for me, when I was going on vacation, I wasn't planning it. I didn't have a certain amount. So it's just like I just spent, But when you have a game plan, you can go in and decide I'm not going to spend, or I'm going to spend based on only what I need, or I'm going to spend, but I'm only going to spend this amount. So you get to decide what your game plan is going to be. And here's what I want you to really catch on to. I never said to try to avoid your triggers. Remember, triggers are circumstances. They are all around us. They are in the world. And I never, ever want you to try to avoid them. I want you to just become more powerful than them, because you are. So you didn't hear me say unsubscribe for all the email subscriptions that you have, so you no longer get coupons. You didn't hear me say stay off of social media. You didn't hear me say instead of driving by that exit on the highway, take the back roads. You didn't hear me say any of that. You didn't hear me say call the catalog company and tell them not to send you any catalogs anymore. No, because that is when you're saying that those triggers are more powerful than you, and it's not true. You are more powerful than your triggers. And the more you can be triggered, I'm using air quotes, and not give in to those triggers, the stronger you become and the more confident you'll become and the more wealth you'll build. So I don't want you to try to avoid any of these triggers. I want you to just understand your power and not give in to them. Okay? So that is what I have for you today. And this is what we talked about. I'm just going to do a quick recap. We talked about spending triggers, what they are. They're just stimulus, right? And circumstances that are not more powerful than you. You are more powerful than the triggers. I gave you lots of examples, and I also gave you things you can do about them. First, you want to just become aware of them, identify them, anticipate them, and then create a game plan for what you're going to do. So remember, I said for me, when I go on vacations, I'm going to know that I want to shop, and then I'm going to have a game plan. So if social media ads are a trigger for you, come up with a game plan. If special events are a trigger for you, come up with a game plan, right? Anticipate them. Know that they're not going to stop coming, and come up with a game plan. Okay, I hope this was helpful, and I hope to see you inside of the Wealthy Woman's Academy to join us for our summer savings challenge. Okay, I hope you have a wonderful day. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Hey, before you go, if you're ready to create a life with more money and more freedom, then you're invited to join the Wealthy Woman's Academy, my signature coaching program where you'll learn how to take control of your money and build wealth without sacrificing your lifestyle. To get started, head on over to jermainefoley.com/WWA. That's Jermaine with a G. See you over there. Bye-bye.